Hello, welcome to Things of the Things. Today we are going to do a tutorial on a messy bun hat. Um, I want you to watch the video thoroughly before you start. I always recommend that, so please make sure you watch. This is a messy bun hat. The messy bun with the hole at the top where you could put a puff ball or a ponytail through. So today we're going to make that and add two buttons. So we're going to put that to the side. So this is what we're going to make. These are the things that you will need. You need a 41 peg loom for an adult. You need a pair of scissors. You will need two skeins of yarn. Now if you're using the 4-ply worsted weight, you would need two skeins. If you are using a bulky yarn, you will only need one skein. So we're going to use Mainstays from Walmart, and the color is called Taupe Heather. Taupe Heather. So we got that. You're going to need your hook. You are going to need stitch markers. You will need a row counter. You will need your elastic. You can either use the 1/4 or the 1/8. I will show you the difference between them. The 1/4, and you can get this from Walmart. I think it's like 98 cents, so it's really cheap. So get this from Walmart. But this is the 1/4, and I'm going to show you how thick it is. Normally I like to use this for adults and people with thick hair. If you know the person has thick hair, you will need something a little bit wider, that way it can hold. If you're going to make a child or a small person's messy bun hat, this is the 1/8. You could just use this. Like a little small baby, you could use that, and that will work. So yeah, so a 41 peg loom, scissors, hook, elastic, row counter, stitch markers, and two skeins of number 4 worsted weight yarn. And you can use any color that you want to. Like I said, for a size 5 or 6, you will need just one skein of yarn to do that with. You do not want to double, because it will be extremely hard to work over the pegs. So I'm going to give you a second to get your things together, and then we're going to come back. And when we come back, we're going to start placing the stitch markers on our pegs to get started. See ya. Okay, we're back. I hope you got all the things together. Right now we're just going to put the scissors and the elastic band to the side, because we don't need that right now. We won't need that until we get to the body part of the hat, in which that is towards the end part. Make sure you have prepped your yarn. Like I said, I like to, if it comes out like this, I just like to grab it like that. So I'm going to go ahead and prep the yarn, and like I said, if it comes out like that, that is a good thing. And just make sure you have those together. That way when you get started, there will be no problems. And like I said, make sure you have your row counter ready. So we're going to start getting our loom together. And when I say get it together, that means placing the pegs. Now you could do E-wrap all the way through. To me, it's a little bit loose, so I'd like to do a mixture of knit 1, purl 1, or knit 2, purl 2, or knit 3, purl 3. You can even do that. So today we are going to do knit 2, purl 2. So we're going to start, and I always like to have the anchor peg facing me. So my anchor peg is back here towards me, So because we always start right here, not directly in front of the peg, the anchor peg, we start right here. So this is where it's going to be knit 2, purl 2. Now for your knit 2, purl 2, you can either do your pearls will have the stitch markers on them, or you can either do it to where your knitting has the 2 stitch markers on them. I'm going to do where my knitting has the 2 stitch markers. So this is knit 1, and they have different types of, move this to the side, they have different types of stitch markers. So this knit 2, purl 2, which would be empty, you will not put anything on them. So knit 2, and I even have some of these, so I go, it's just whatever you like to use. So knit 2, purl 2, knit 1, knit 2, purl 1, purl 2, knit 1. And like I said, whichever one you feel comfortable putting the stitch marker on, whether that be for your knitting or your purling, whichever one works for you. So that's my knit, this is my purl 2, knit. So my pearls will always be empty in this case, and my knitting will have my stitch markers on them. So purl, purl, knit, knit, purl, purl, knit, knit, purl, purl, knit, knit, purl, purl, knit, and knit. Purl, purl, knit, and knit, purl, purl. So we have 2 pearls right here, and then we have 1 right here where it is empty. It is next to the 2 knitting, so these 3 you would just purl. Those you do not have to worry about, because that would be in the back. So you will leave those 3 empty, that way you can know you just purl all 3 of those, or if you did it the other way, you would knit all 3 and you will purl these 2. So I'm going to put the rest of these back in the jar, and then like I said, I'm going to start getting my yarn ready. So you can put the stitch markers up now because we are done with those. So I'm going to move those out of the way. So now you're going to make a slip knot. And place it on the anchor peg. And this is a Nifty Knitter loom. If you go back and watch my videos, you know that I do not like buoyed looms at all, because it will slow you down. So this, because this is our foundation, I'm not counting this as a row. I do not start doing that until after I have done all the way around. So we're going to start, and hopefully this acts right. So we're going to start right here, because we do not start directly across. You're going to start right here, and you're just going to E-wrap all the way around. And like I said, the size, it varies according to if you're doing it for an adult or a child. Those numbers will be different. If you would like to see me do one for a child, please comment down below. Please make sure that you have subscribed Please make sure that you like this video so I can know what type of videos you all would like to see, and what videos you would not like to see. Please make sure that you use the promo code for Darn Good Yarn. If you use my name, Amber15, you get 15% off in that website. So like I said, you're just going around and you're just simply e-wrapping. You're not following the pattern yet until after you have e-wrapped every single peg. This is what I call your foundation. And like I said, you just keep going all the way around. So I'm going to let you, and whether you're working along, there's always an option where you can pause. So like I said, you can either watch it all the way through first, or you can just go along, whichever one you're comfortable with doing. But just know that for our foundation, we will only e-wrap. So I'm going to finish e-wrapping all the way across, and I will meet you back here. Okay, as you can see, I am back, and as you can see, I have now met back at the anchor peg. And I wanted to say that when e-wrapping, do not e-wrap every single peg first. On this, please e-wrap your pegs one at a time. So like I said, you're just e-wrapping all the way around. This is our foundation. Okay? So now is where you start using your row counter. So because we're getting started and getting ready to do the actual pattern, this is where you will cut your row counter on. Now you see it says 0. So I'm going to press 1. This is where I start. Every time I come right back here, this is when I'm going to press my row counter. So this is row 1. So this is the first one I'm going to knit because it has the stitch marker on here. And literally after this one, you can take the yarn off of the anchor peg, because it doesn't matter right about now. You have secured it on there, so you can just push it to the other side and it can just hang right there. So I'm gonna go back and knit. And that's how we knit. So now this is how you purl. You pick up the yarn and you put the yarn under it and you pick it up that way. You make a new loop and you just take it off, put the new loop on there and pull it. And you do not have to be afraid about pulling it. It doesn't matter. You're going to pick it up, pick the new loop up, pull it up, take it off of the peg and put it back on the peg. And then we're going to knit. These two you can knit at, both at the same time, long as you don't go over 4 or 5 trying to knit at the same time, you're fine. So these two we can do just like this with no problem. Push those down. You can push those down as you go or when you come back around. And like I said, for your purling, you can only do one at a time. So you're going to pick the old yarn up, place the new yarn under it, and pick the new yarn up, put it up good enough, take it off of it, and replace it on that peg. And like I said, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to let me know what type of videos you want to see. Please bear with me because I do have 4 kids, so I'm not able to get them out as quick as everybody wants them to. And when you subscribe, that motivates me more to do new videos for you all. And like I said, the looms, you can get one from Hobby Lobby, and it's not buoyed, because I have done a project on here using Hobby Lobby's loom. Nifty knitters are very hard to find, so sometimes you can find them at garage sales, sometimes you can find them at Goodwill. Online they're about $50. You might want to check Facebook Marketplace. They have some where I've seen some people have gotten them for $2 or maybe $4. Like I said, I do not suggest using buoyed looms just because they take longer and they snag your yarn. Now what I will end up doing for this one is that I'm probably going to add another color for the body. I don't know yet. If not, I'll just put some colorful buttons on here. Some people like color, some people don't, so I try to stay good within. And then sometimes a simple button is all that you need to add color to your projects. Another good source of looms are if you go to Michael's, they have the hoops and threads, so they have great looms as well. If you go back and watch my older video, I do have one where I'm telling you the best and the worst looms, and I'm also telling you what every loomer should have. So like I said, we're still on row 1, so when we come back we will be at row 2. And like I said, after this I'm going to meet you back here and I'm going to tell you how many rows of the brim you should have. For me, I like my brims kind of thick because I like for it to cover up my ears as well. So probably about maybe 2 to 3 inches. Yeah, maybe about 2 or 3 inches wide I like for my brims to be. With every stitch it is different, because with E-wrap you may not get as wide. Okay, so this is where I said where these 3 empty ones were going to be all purl because they do not have a stitch marker on them. And this is okay because the 41 peg loom will always come out odd just because it's a 41 peg loom. Like I said, it is fine. There is nothing wrong with doing 3 purls in the back. Some people do 3 knits in the back. It's all fine. So now we're back here again, and you're going to press your row counter again. So this will be row 2. All right, and just do the simple pattern again. Just knit. So I'm going to work on the brim, and I will meet you back here and give you the set numbers that I have for my brim, and I will meet you back here. See ya. Okay, we are back. So we have approximately done, you should have 37 rows at this time. I'm just now finishing up across here. So once I get done doing this, and don't mind how it looks right now. Right now it is going to look a little weird, but once you put the loops on the pegs, it will make sense. And I'm going to stop where I started. So I'm going to stop right in front of the peg. So right here is where I'm going to stop. Now, I started right here, but I stopped right here because I don't want to keep going. So I'm going to stop. So like I said, your brim should look something like this, kind of like it's sunk in, but pull it back down this way, and you can kind of stretch it out so it's not super tight. And like I said, you're going to get this out of the way. So this is the peg where we ended. You're going to put this where your anchor peg was. You're going to start putting the loops back on the peg. So we're actually going to start right here, putting that loop right here. So you should have 2, and you're just going to fit the rest of them on there. Each peg should have its own loop. No one loop should be sharing a peg. And like I said, it should easily fit in, super easy. And at this point, you could do either E-wrap for your body, or you can keep following the pattern of the brim. I am going to switch it up. So, and make sure you have 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom when you're putting them back on. Like I said, push it down. Each peg should have 2 loops at the top, 2 loops at the bottom. And like I said, no one loop should be sharing a peg. So like I said, 37 rows for your brim, or you can go to the even 40, whichever one you want to do. And like I said, each peg should have a loop. And there you go. All the pegs are on the loops. So you're just going to E-wrap this off. That means pulling the bottom loop over the top loop. Once you do that, I will be back. Okay, so as you know, you're going to, or you should have, knitted the bottom over the top all the way around. Again, remember, you're supposed to have 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, And for the pattern, like I said, you can either keep going just like the Brim is doing, which is knit 2, purl 2, or you can switch it up, or you can do just regular E-wrap, or you can do a U-stitch. For this one, I am going to do, instead of where the places where I have, I'll show you. I'll show you in just a minute. And please don't forget to subscribe. And then, like I said, make sure that you do not lose any of your loops, and you can push them down as you go, or you can wait until you're done and then push them down. I kind of like to do a few, then push them down, and like I said, you either use your hand or you can use your hook. Okay, and you just keep pushing those down, up, and see how I just lost one? I have to get it back on there, pick it up. Like I said, you can pick it up with your hand, or you can do it with the hook. But you want to keep these two separated. Keep them separated, and kind of like put your hand right there a little bit if you think it's gonna come off like mine just did. Sometimes you have to do that for them, and then sometimes you don't. Okay, and we're on to the last one. And this is the one that is going to be coming from the yarn. So it's going to come off like kind of like loose, but you just pull it. So for the pattern, okay, remember these are the ones that I did knit. So I'm going to switch it up. So these I'm going to do purls. These I'm going to do knitting. And like I said, you start your row counter over so you can get an idea of how many you did for your brim and how many you did for the actual body of the hat. The body of the hat should be no more than probably maybe about 5 or 6 inches. Also, get you a tape measure. So yes, on this one, we're going to purl. So you know, every time you start right here, you start your row counter over. So we did 37, I don't know if you can see it, 37 for the brim. So we're just going to start that over, hit the reset button, and we're back at 1. So now that we have started doing this, we're going to press 1. So the ones with the stitch markers on, those are the ones you're going to do purl. The empty ones are the ones that you are going to knit. So if it does not have a stitch marker, you're going to purl it. I mean, if it does not have a stitch marker, you're going to knit it. So like I said, you could do 2 of these at the same time. That is fine. It's just you do not actually wrap. I would not recommend that you wrap a whole loom first. I'd highly suggest that you take maybe 4 or 5 and wrap those first. So like I said, the empty ones we knit, the ones with the stitch markers you purl. So I'm going to do this a couple of rounds, and I will meet you back here. And do not forget to subscribe if you have not already done so. I'll be back. I'll come back when I'm halfway done. So I'll see you shortly. Okay, we are back. So I have done approximately, let me find my stitch marker. I mean my row counter. I have approximately done 29 rows. As you can see, it's about that long. So it's a little bit on the longer side, but for a messy bun hat, you don't want it to be extremely tight on your head. And then, like I said, some people wear extensions on their hair, and some people have very, very thick hair. So this is fine. So you will stop at 29 rows, and like I said, we did different for the body of the messy bun hat than the brim. The brim we did, where these three were, we did pearl. So for every empty one on the brim part, we did pearl, knit 2, pearl 2. So for the body, we did where the stitch markers are. This is where we purled for the body. This is where we knitted for the body. So we just reversed the stitches. And like I said, you can use the E-wrap, whichever one is convenient for you. So like I said, we're going to tie this off now. So we are going to, every time that you do one of these, you need to take your working yarn and you need to wrap it around. Now, whether you use it or not, it doesn't matter, because if you have some strap left over, you can always use it for a pom-pom. So you're just going to cut right here. So for the yarn we are done with, that we can put to the side. And again, for thicker hair, you would use the 1/4. And like I said, you can get this from Walmart. It is 98 cents. So this is that. And then for thinner hair or smaller kids' hair, you would use the 1/8. And that is this one. So for this hat, we are going to use the thicker one. So now it is time to take it off. So what we are going to do, and I forgot to say that, ouch, that you would need a tapestry needle. Now, a tapestry needle, this is the smallest one. So gather your supplies, get ready to bind off, and we will be right back. We're back. So I found my needle. So we have two different types of needle. You have a small one, and then you have the bigger one. I'm going to use the bigger one because we are going to put the elastic band, slide it in there, and then we're going to grab these two ends of the yarn, and we're just going to weave everything in together. So we're just going to do it like that, and like I said, we're just going to weave it in. Instead of having two different things going through the yarn, we're having 3, and we are just binding off, and this, you're just pulling this along. So we're just going to keep going like our normal bind off if we did not have the elastic. And the elastic, like I said, you can get from Walmart. Like I said, I know for sure at Walmart it's about 97 cents. So you just pull this along the way, and it looks a little funky right now, but once you take it off, everything will be hidden. So this part takes a little bit of time. And like I said, you just pull it. Make sure the yarn is not getting caught on the other yarn. And then like I said, you still have to pull the yarn through and pull the elastic through. So everything has to be uniform across. Everything has to go through that one loop. So just take your time, do not rush. And for a good head size, you can get a mannequin off of Amazon, or you can go to your local beauty supply store. That is also a good way to measure how long you want your messy bun hat to be. And because I'm not able to find my measuring tape right now for some strange reason, I will measure it, and it will be in the description so you can know for sure how long the hat was. And then like I said, once you keep going around, you're going to have to bring the elastic around too. That way you can have a lot more room to work with, because we're going to have to go all the way across, all the way around the loom. So like I said, this part can be tricky, and you just keep on going. And like I said, keep pulling your elastic, and I'm going to keep going around, and I will meet you back here once we have completely went all the way around the hat, and I will show you what to do next. Be right back. Okay, we are back. So I want to show you what kind of problem you could come about on this. You see how long I have left on here? And it has to reach all the way to right here, because we're going to go through here, and then we're just going to join this together. So it has to reach right here. As you can see, I do not have enough. So what you should do is, to relieve some of that pressure, well, to kind of loosen it up a little bit, take what you already have done off. So as long as the elastic is under the peg, is inside of it already, then you can take it off. So right now we're going to do that because I came across a little problem. And like I said, this is just like your average normal bind off. You just releasing it, and you just keep taking it off until we come back to where we are leaving off. So we're going to leave that last one on before we take it off. We're going to put that down, and we're going to work our way through. So as you can see, and pull it a little bit. So as you can see, we have more of the brown yarn that will be able to meet this now. So we're going to pull this in so it won't be so much hanging off. And like I said, we're going to slip it through. Just pull it on through. And like I said, I will post, well, there will be a picture at the end of the video of what it will look like on the mannequin with hair. So please don't forget to subscribe. Please don't forget to comment. We are almost at 300 subscribers. So like I said, once we meet 300 subscribers, I will be doing my first giveaway. So make sure that you tell your friends. Make sure you get everybody to subscribe. So like I said, we're just going to keep pulling this through. And just pull the working part, the part that's coming from the end of it on this end. You're just going to have to keep pulling it through as you go through the pegs more and more. So just pull that through, pull that through, and going to keep going all the way across. Now there's going to be a reason why you have so much yarn left over. This working yarn, after you pull it, you're going to have a lot or a little bit left, depending on how much, depending on if you wrapped it across, going around. And then, like I said, for your band, meaning this part, you could put whatever kind of embellishment that you want. You could put a bow. You could put buttons. My favorite is buttons. So, and like I said, this is coming out of here. So we're going to go in here. That way they're both coming out. That way when we get ready to tie it, there will be no gaps, anything. So as you can see, that came off. So we're going to take the rest of them off. And they do have black elastic. You could try to see if you can find elastic that will match the color of the hat that you will be doing. So we are done with this part. So we're going to set that to the side. And this is what we have so far. So I know you're like, oh my God, what is this? What are we going to do? Well, I'm going to show you. So we're going to take this off for right now. Sit that right there because we will need that shortly. So we're going to take this in because we have too much of this. You don't want to waste your elastic. So we're going to pull the part that it's coming from to kind of pull back on this a little bit because we have too much hanging. But it's better to have too much hanging than not enough hanging. And then you also want to realize how much you want to, how wide you want it to be. You don't want it to be where it's not wide enough, and then you also don't want it to be where it is too wide. So like I said, we're going to keep pulling that. And so we're going to say about this much is enough. Okay, pull it just a little bit more. So yeah, so this much should be enough for the average ponytail. That should be enough. Or if you have extensions, or even if you have natural hair. So we're going to tie this. Remember, we still have this working yarn, so we're just going to put that to the side for right now. But we're going to tie this off. So tie this. And pull on it. And like I said, make sure, just like this, it's still wide enough to where you could put a ponytail through it, extensions, whatever. And kind of cut as close as you can. You want to double knot it to make sure that it is not going anywhere. And then you also want to double knot it to make sure that it is not showing. So what we're doing with this part is that we're going to pull this a little bit, and as you can see, it's still where you can put a ponytail through it. So even with this, we are going to put it through our tapestry needle. And I'm sorry if you hear some noise. Everybody is still up. It's late. But take our working yarn through the tapestry needle, just like that. So then we're just going to grab it like that, and you're just going to feed it through that loop. Feed it through those loops where the elastic is going through. That way, if you do it so many times, you won't see the white elastic, because it'll be hidden because you have went through it so many times. And then also at the same time, you don't want to pull this yarn, because if you pull it, you are going to pull it so much to where it is not going to be wearable as far as you being able to do this. So we're going to keep going through, keep feeding it through, keep feeding it through all the way around. Sorry, everybody's still up. So like I said, you just feed it through those hoops that the elastic is going through. Do not pull this. Again, do not pull. Because see, I have been pulling, so now this will not, I have to loosen this up. So now it is back loose where I need it to be. So this is why I say you do not pull. Do not pull, but lightly thread the yarn through the hoops. And then like I said, we're going to go ahead and take this off. And you could just, this white part, because that's going to be on the inside, once you spread the stitches out, now you don't see it. So now we're just going to cut that, and we're going to make a knot, and we're going to get as close as we can, and that will, again, do not pull it, because you will have to undo it or kind of wrestle with it to loosen it up. And like I said, just either triple or double tie it. Get as close as you can to it. And there you go, a messy bun hat. And like I said, it could fit, you could put a ponytail in it. So this is what this messy bun looks like. Now it looks like a hat, a full-size hat, but it's really not. So like I said, this is how you make a messy bun hat. Like I said, you can add whatever type of embellishments that you want, whether it be you add this type of bow. Now this part right here, I will tell you now, this part right here, that wider part, you will probably want to put that in the back, or it may not even matter to you. Like I said, you could put a button right there. Like I said, I have different types of buttons. So like I said, whatever you want to use is fine. Like I said, the choice is up to you and what you want to do. So like I said, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I will have a picture at the end, and I also will have the measurement, because I was not able to find my my what do you call that thing? I was not able to find my tape measure. That's what it was. I was not able to find my tape measure, so I will have the exact measurements. Like I said, I think it was 37 for the brim, and 29 for the body. Like I said, if you are doing this for a kid, comment down below if you would like to see me do a tutorial on a kid's messy bun hat. Obviously, you will take some of the length off, but like I said, it's it's however you want. I will have the information for the elastic bands, and also do not forget, I will be putting my information down for the Darn Good Yarn box. You get 15% off using my code Amber15. And thank you. I think that was about it. Like I said, thank you for watching the tutorial. And like I said, this is a adult mannequin, so you can use this as an example of how far you want to go down, or however you want to do it. But like I said, it's really mainly personal preference. And like I said, this is the tutorial for the messy bun hat. Please subscribe, please make sure you comment, please like this video, and make sure those notifications are on. And like I said, I will be doing post notes shout outs, so if you are the first one to comment, I will shout you out in my next video. So until next time, be blessed.